You ain't got a right to tell us how to worship, so let's tell the government to get up out our churches. We ain't choking no more, tell them our hopes in the Lord. The time for speaking is past, it's time to open the doors. You ain't got no right to tell us how to worship, so let's tell the government to get up out our service. We ain't choking no more, tell them our hopes in the Lord. The time for speaking is past, so let's reopen the doors.
That is right. It is the 1-year anniversary of why that song was written. Really, well, it's not really, actually, that's not the proper way to describe it. That song was a call for people to open their churches, for pastors to open their churches. And one could argue that because no pastors did, or not enough did, resulted in the arrests of several pastors across Alberta. So guys, if you could do me a favor, if you could like and share this video right now while it's live, that would be helpful. Also, you could go follow me on Rumble. It's the same name. You could go follow me on YouTube. It's the same name. You could follow me on Instagram at Bro Here's the Thing and Twitter at Devastator48. I'm broadcasting this live to Twitter right now as well. Guys, I don't talk about the coffee very much, but I still have a discount code with Resistance Coffee. If you use code Davis at checkout, you will receive 10% off your first order. So make sure it counts. Make sure you order a lot. With your first order, get yourself a Defund the CBC shirt. I don't know. They've got a new brand, a blend called Fringe Minority. Josh, stop it. Okay? We've got Josh in the comments already trying to irritate me, and it's working. Oh, he'll have to do better through text because he's not speaking well right now. It's an inside joke. So guys, 1-year anniversary of Gracelife Church having a cage put around it. There is lots to cover. 1-year anniversary of this guy. Where'd the photo go? What's going on here? Oh, like this. There we go. Josh says, wow, that was cold. You know, I'll even put that comment up. Yeah, it was. It was. Why don't you go hang out with your new friend, Dallas Jenkins? Oh, hi, Phoebe. Phoebe says hi. We'll post that. Hello, Phoebe. How are you? So, 1-year anniversary of the church being locked up. This is how I started my live streaming career. And if you can't see this because you're listening to this as audio, I did air quotes. And yeah, that's what I call them. Not scare quotes, air quotes. Anyway, where is it? Let's just play an excerpt. Setting up a tent city on the front lawn of Gracelife and was worried about us trespassing him. Let's go to the start. I informed. So we are having some really interesting characters turn out here that are, someone's planning on posting setting up a tent city on the front lawn of Gracelife and was worried about us trespassing him, and I informed him that there's literally nothing we can do. I discouraged him, but he's going to do it, and we now have a white homeschooling style van, I call it. It's of police officers. You can kind of see it in the background there. Some big scary dudes we saw, so I don't know, maybe they're here to finally start dispersing people. Keep in mind, right, I remember that guy. He was worried that we were going to trespass him, and it's like, bro, the government took the land away. We can't trespass nothing. That could be a thing. Jonathan, how's it going, man? you know, I don't know what the plan is here. We've already made a decision as Gracelife people that if these supporters that are a little bit rowdy or start getting too weird, we're gonna move on out, just so that they know it's not Gracelife doing all the weirdness. You can see they've kind of set up this group has set up a plot of land here. They've set up a circle on the lawn on the lawn that is Gracelife's property. So okay, so you can hear how stumbling and weird I am at this time. Hey, look at this. I'm posting this so that everyone can read it. I just want everyone to know that this is what Josh thinks of The Chosen. If you know him, you can go talk to him about it and tell him he's wrong. He says, and I quote, "Dallas Jenkins is the man, and The Chosen is the greatest show that was ever made." Jesus gives Dallas Jenkins a high five. I don't think he does, man. I'm sorry. Justin says hi. Gerald says hi, which is probably actually his wife. Oh, and Josh says, Devin is here to start a revolution. No. No revolutions, my friend. If you don't know, that's a quote from The Chosen. Jesus says, I'm here to start a revolution, which was not what he was here for. But anyway, I don't want to get into that. As you can see, you can go check that out. I posted it to my Facebook page for you guys. You can go see the start of the Chronicles of Devon, we call it. Oh, man. I just thought it would be fun to post that. Now, all my videos are scrambled, and so they're not in the right order in the queue here. So I want to make sure that I post the right one. We've got a couple Western Standard articles today. Oh, no. I didn't... okay, I've got to bring something up here really quick for you guys. You're going to see it here on screen for a second, but don't worry about it too much. It's not what I'm planning on playing right now. So anyway, guys, we have a story. And this story came out, was it yesterday? Hold on, where is it? Here we go. So it says, and I quote, "Churchgoers use UCP Easter contest to slam pastors' arrests." Made by Rachel Emanuel. It was published 2 days ago on April 5th. In a post to his public Facebook account on March 31st, UCP MLA Cyril Turton said he's having a coloring contest. Celebration of spring and Easter just around the corner. And what's funny about this is that he didn't post a picture that you're supposed to color. So it was, you could submit any coloring that you wanted to. Now, I don't know why he would do this, but he actually just recently took that post down. I don't know if it's directly because of what happened, but with this article being released, but the contest is gone. So anyway, it says Gracelife church members have responded in jest, thankfully she put that in there, to UCP MLA Cyril Turton's Easter coloring contest by drawing Alberta Premier Jason Kenney, giving 2 thumbs up to the arrests of Christian pastors. The drawing follows Gracelife pastor James Coates' arrest in February 2021 in Turton's district for continuing to hold services that police said defied COVID-19 restrictions. Coates was one of the 3 Alberta pastors arrested for defying COVID-19 rules in pursuit of religious liberties, such as holding unhindered worship services. Oh, and my mouse is dead. All right. I imprisoned more pastors than any other Western leader, says the caption accompanying the drawing of Kenney. So here it is. I imprisoned more pastors than any other Western leader. Happy Easter. Now, what's really interesting about this photo, or not the photo, but the actual image, was it was in fact made by someone who attends Gracelife Church. I'm not sure if he wants open and out there credit yet, But I think it's pretty awesome. Now, this was a joint effort between my wife, Cliff, and the person that designed the art. I simply delivered the message to the right person to make this article. In a post to his public Facebook account, Searle said he's having a coloring contest. Okay, so we already read that. And then by April 14th, you could win an Easter gift basket. Contest open to all ages, reads the post. For Christians, Easter is a time to remember and reflect on the death and resurrection of Jesus Christ. On February 14th, 2021, the Royal Canadian Mounted Police and Alberta Health Services visited Gracelife Church in Parkland County, located west of Edmonton. They determined that the church was defying COVID-19 restrictions, which required places of worship to operate at 15% capacity and with masks and physical distancing. 2 days later, Coates turned himself in to authorities and was charged with 2 counts of contravening the Public Health Act and 1 criminal charge. Coates was to be released on the conditions that he follow public health orders, but he said he could not do so in good conscience. As such, he remained in custody for 35 days. I thought it was 39, but 35, she probably just looked it up. Also, you have the arrest of Artur Pawlowski in May after he failed to abide by public health orders during a Saturday church when congregants didn't wear masks or physically distance themselves. And of course, in June, Tim Stevens, pastor of Fairview Baptist Church in southeast Calgary, was arrested for failing to comply with a court order to stop holding church services in violation of Alberta's pandemic gathering rules. And you remember that the U.S. Senator Josh Hawley responded to the arrests by asking his country's Commission on International Religious Freedom to consider putting Canada on its special watch list for violating religious freedom. He compared the arrest to something that would occur in China, which has detained more than 1 million minority Muslims in so-called re-education camps. Rachel Emmanuel is the Edmonton Bureau Chief for the Western Standard. Wow, that's a cool job title, Rachel. Anyway, so pretty awesome article. I like it. Hopefully it doesn't ruffle too many feathers. Oh, oh, jeez. Look at what he's writing. Oh. Another pastor has been arrested in Alberta, I understand. Yeah, When did that happen and what was it for? I can't actually, I don't actually know. I don't have, any info on that. Great, I can't scroll through. Oh, like that. Okay. Anyway, guys, so you've seen that article. We trolled Searle Turton, and apparently he canceled this contest. I don't know if he actually did or not. It's brutal that he would allow people sending him offensive pictures, and not even offensive, just mocking pictures, that he would cancel it because of that. I don't know if that's why he canceled it. Who knows? I think it is, but I don't know. Yeah, Phoebe, if you post the link to the article in the chat, that would be helpful. Okay. We've got a lot we could be looking at, but now, sticking in the vein of Jason Kenney and arresting pastors, we've got this video posted and sent to me, and it is titled, "Jason Kenney Lies to Pastor's Face." And we're gonna give this a listen now.
Okay, another question right here. Good afternoon, Premier and my friend Dan. As a pastor in the Peace River right now, there is concern about what has been going on, and I know we don't want to go back, but I need to ask a question about pastors in jail. My question would be, What is your plan going forward about the justice system and how to make it just?
I'm not really sure what happened. It sounds like he almost got a little flustered and like lost his train of thought because he starts focusing on this justice thing and reforming justice, and it just kind of sounds like he maybe nerves or something, but it wasn't like a greatly worded question. That's no criticism of him. But I understand the main point that he was making. Can we make the justice system just?
For most people, I believe, in this room, we believe that that is unjust, what has happened. It might be hard to change that, but can you change it, and can you make it more just? I guess is my question because of what has happened.
Thank you. Thank you, Pastor. And thank you for your service to the church. So, I just want to...
What's the church? Anyway, that's just me nitpicking statements.
Say, first of all, that we have 10,000 clergy in Alberta, according to Statistics Canada. And as far as I'm aware, 10,000 clergy did not have any trouble with the law in the last 2 years. I'm aware of 3 out of the 10,000 that did. So that would be like 0.000.
So let's talk about this. Only 3. Come on, man. You know. You know there was more than 3. There were tiny churches all throughout the countryside that didn't follow the restrictions. And you're going to paint this false picture that it was 3 pastors. Now, this isn't the lie, though, that the creator of this video is talking about. I mean, I guess technically, I don't know, but the bigger lie is coming right away. So he's going to paint this false picture of these pastors and key in on one whom it might be true of.
Something percent. So I don't think we should see this as a general issue. The vast fact is well over 99% of places of faith and worship managed to get through the past 2 years their own way. I think most of them making an effort to keep their congregants and their communities safe. In the case, I'm aware of 3 cases where individuals, for their reasons, that's for them to explain, decided that they wanted to become a very public, attract a lot of attention to total non-compliance of any aspect of any public health measures, and one more recently has been...
So, the 3 pastors, all 3 of them decided they were going to make it really public. That's the narrative he wants to put forward. Don't let him lie. You owe it to everyone to make sure that you know what really happened. At least 2 out of 3 of those pastors had no desire to attract attention to themselves. None. My pastor faithfully and quietly served his church and opened it like he was supposed to. We did not go get a bunch of attention. The attention came and found us and came and found him. So he is painting a false narrative. Now, you could very much argue that as things have progressed, we have seen that Artur Pawlowski seems to sensationalize things and seems to be looking for that attention. And I'm not even impugning the man's motives. My point is he is not just pastoring a church anymore. The other 2 men are just faithfully returning to their work every week and doing what they're supposed to be, quietly pastoring. That's it. And so this video is a lie. That's what's happening here. He wants to, and notice who he keys in on, right? Notice who he describes. He describes the one who you could easily agree that he is looking for attention. Now, and I'm not saying that. But I'm not saying that for sure, but he would be the one that you could accuse of that. I think the easiest. And so, sorry, with the mouse, it's getting hard. It's hard to navigate the chat. So you've got Josh in the comments heckling me again, and I know what he wants. I know he wants me to react to things. James Coates does not love The Chosen. I'm imagining that if he watched one episode of it, he would say, "Why are you wasting your time watching that trash?" That's my guess. He probably doesn't even know about The Chosen, though, right now. Now, oh, but look, Rochelle posted some info for us. Thank you, Rochelle, about the pastor that was recently arrested. I'm going to have to look this stuff up. Pastor Derek Reamer was arrested for talking into a microphone on Stephen Ave, where he sets up to feed the homeless every week. Calgary police apologized because the court injunction stating he should be arrested for using amplification devices only applies to parks, and Derek wasn't in a park. Oh, they already apologized, though? Well, that's interesting. Okay, I'm going to have to do a little more research for that and look it up. Anna Lee says, wow, 1 year? That's been a long year. So much has happened. Bless you guys. Praying for the whole church in Canada for wisdom. Thank you, Anna Lee. I appreciate it. Anyway, let's keep listening to our faithful leader, Jason Kenney.
Charged with incitement involving...
Talking about Arthur right now, just being recently arrested again.
Connected to a group, 4 of whom are now facing charges for conspiracy to commit murder. These are serious charges. I'm not saying that individual is, but he was speaking to people allegedly in language that consisted of incitement. So that is a difficult matter. On all of these things, I am, when you ask about the justice system, it is the justice system. We have an impartial system of justice where elected officials cannot, must not, will not interfere in the decisions that are made by judges. If I were to pick up the phone and call a judge and say, I disagree with your decision, you should give so-and-so bail, you should drop charges against someone, you should not issue this injunction, you should repeal that injunction, then that's no longer a democracy characterized by the rule of law, but that is a kind of dictatorship where a politician is instructing an independent court.
Right, so what does Jason Kenney do here? I mean, obviously this guy isn't saying, could you persuade judges to be better? That's not what he's saying. He's basically talking about the passing and invoking of unjust laws, arbitrary ones, and using it to punish people who do not deserve to be punished in the way that they were punished. That's what the man is talking about. He's not talking about whatever Jason Kenney's going off on about calling judges and telling them to rule differently on things. The point is that you pass stupid laws and your judges helped enforce them. That's the problem. Oh.
About how to apply the law. So you're asking me, there's no easy answer to your question. We have an independent judiciary, and that is an essential principle of our system. I find all of this incredibly regrettable, given that Alberta was the only province in Canada that did not have extended closures of places of worship as a matter of public health policy.
Shutting down churches to 15 people, which is just staff to run a live stream, is shutting down the church. It is. You're a liar. This is you closing the church. You can talk about how the church wasn't closed, But if you limit it to any number so that people have to be barred from it, that is closed in my book. But down to 15 people, that's closed by any standard. Stop saying that you were open and that you were less repressive than other governments in Canada. You weren't. You were the first one to see pastors be arrested. Stop. Stop, liar. Stop.
There were constraints. I know they were difficult. But the reality is, where I go across the province, generally pastors and clergy come up to me to express gratitude for Alberta having been the only province not to have done that as a matter of...
Yeah, I'm sure a lot of them wear robes and are female. I bet you that's a lot of the clergy that did that. Although, if you read my pastor's new book, apparently someone did email him saying that we should want to submit to the government more cheerfully. And I do not know who emailed him that, but obviously there was disagreement with that statement.
Policy. So I find it really sad, very regrettable. I cannot speak to the decisions that those 3 out of 10,000 individuals made. And frankly, I'm offside if I even comment on the wisdom of what the judges have decided to do in those instances. I will just say this.
Yeah, Josh says, even if he was less repressive, why is that a good thing? It's still repressive. Exactly. Oh, well, we didn't lash you 50 times. We only lashed you 30, right? So that's better than 50, right? Yeah, I guess. Oh, these people. This is how they think, man. Because he looks down on you, right? He is the ultimate authority, whether he talks like that or not. He clearly seems, I can't know for sure, but he seems to think it.
That no one in our society, no politician, no pastor is exempt from the principles of the rule of law.
So, no one is exempt from the principles of the rule of law. So when you just start passing and forcing through laws unjustly in the guise of an emergency system, that is you being exempt to the rule of law as far as I'm concerned. Now, I don't know legalese, but I mean, that's what I think. It really seems like you were exempt from the rule of law when you were filmed multiple times not following COVID rules. But hey, who am I? I don't know.
And so I don't think any of us want to live in a society where somebody says, "Hey, I'm exempt from the law because of my position." That's not consistent with our system. So I could stand up here and give you the easy, politically popular answer, but I'm giving you the honest answer, which is I cannot cross that huge line. Frankly, if I do so, if I stand up here and start pontificating about what decisions I think judges should make, then my...
Phoebe says, well said, Mr. Sky Palace. Now, it's funny that you bring up the Sky Palace, because that's obviously what I thought of. Now, I watched his apology video, and it was quite the non-apology. But he would argue that he was allowed to be doing that day based on the new rules. Also, though, if you look at the pictures, they talk about having a working dinner. I didn't see any work getting done at all. Just saying.
My very next step has to be to meet with the Lieutenant Governor and resign. And so I cannot, I have to respect, I believe in institutions. I believe in respecting those institutions. Doesn't mean I agree with every decision that's made, either by the individuals or by the courts, but my powers are not total because we don't live in a totalitarian society. My powers are limited. And so if you...
We don't? Do you remember, Jason, when you shut down businesses and you said, to food businesses, to restaurants, fast food places, you can no longer serve customers indoors. That is totalitarianism. The fact that you can say to a private business who they can serve and then say that this isn't totalitarianism is ridiculous. And anyone who's thinking at all can see how preposterous that is.
You disagree, I will just finally say this, that anybody who's facing a charge, an application for an injunction, a bail application, whatever it is, we all have the rights to natural justice, due process, the presumption of innocence, competent legal defense, and those are critical parts of our system to protect, and access to constitutional protections as well. So that's the best I can say to you. I do regret that out of 10,000 we've had these 3 cases, and I hope very much that they get resolved in a good way.
Thanks, Jason. That was awesome. Okay, so obviously painting a narrative like usual, nothing surprises us. I think we can move on. That's for your information. That was posted by my friend Philip Clausen. I believe he was there filming it himself. So you can go check out his YouTube page. I don't really know what else is on there, but who knows? Might find something interesting. We don't know. All right, another Western Standard article. I am going through so much stuff. Oh yeah, this one. Look at this. Updated. Oh, source says 5,000 UCP members signed up using small number of credit cards, but party denies wrongdoing. So I don't know if you guys heard this. The original story was 5,000 memberships were bought on one credit card. Now it sounds like it is a small number of credit cards. Still suspicious. Anyway, sorry for the yawning. Work is hard. Oh no. I can't read that. What happened? I had the article. No. It's got the paywall up. Someone showed me how to get rid of the paywall for free. And I can't remember. Anyway, that sucks. Anyway, guys. Oh, look at this. A small number of credit cards are responsible for about 5,000 of the last-minute memberships, largely in ethnic ridings, the source told the Western Standard. I don't even understand why it mentions ethnic ridings. Oh, back to a point from Rochelle. The point of the Charter, our highest law, is to make sure people in Kenny's position can't interfere with our rights the way he did. He should be arrested since none of us are exempt from the law. So, guys, can't read it. It has a paywall up. Go check it out for yourself if you know how to get around the paywall, or you want to buy a Western Standard membership. You should do that. Okay. Last article. If you guys didn't know, Dina Hinshaw finally was on the stand giving her testimony for the last 3 days. This is day 3 of the events because we just want to go through her tweets or through Sheila Gunn Reid's tweets and check out what was said. So, lawyers for the Justice Center for Constitutional Freedoms and others continue to cross-examine Dr. Hinshaw. Look at that hair, man. Like, it's so bad. Anyway, whatever. Following repeated delays, the Justice Center for Constitutional Freedoms is in court challenging the constitutionality of Alberta Chief Medical Officer of Health, Dr. Hinshaw's health orders. Rebel News' Sheila Gunn Reid is live tweeting the proceedings. Read the live updated tweets from day 1 here and from day 2 here. So we could go back and look at all the stuff. It's got to itch my head. So, back in court. Heights Baptist, Northside Baptist et al. Versus Alberta and the Chief Medical Officer of Health. So what's interesting is the churches that are part of this are none of the churches that had pastors that were arrested. So here's 2 more churches that brings the number past 3. It's right there. It's right there. Obviously, these pastors didn't agree with the restrictions either, did they? The pastor of Heights Baptist and Northside Baptist. Anyway, I'll keep reading. The lawsuit, led by lawyers from JCCF Canada and Jeffrey Rath, calls into question... Yawning! Calls into question the constitutionality of CMOH Dina Hinshaw's lockdown orders. They're currently going through evidentiary formalities right now. Leighton Gray for the JCCF is back to cross-examining Hinshaw. He plans to examine her on her press conferences. Transcripts of her many pressers were admitted into evidence. Gray: what did you mean when you cautioned people against spreading rumor and inaccurate speculation in early March 2020? Hinshaw: we wanted to make sure that if people saw something on social media, they were checking to see if it had been verified. On March 12, 2020, you said Alberta was taking aggressive new public health measures. There were just 19 diagnosed cases. Hinshaw told Cabinet then to kill gatherings of 250 or more and advised against travel. She told returning travelers to self-isolate upon arrival. That last part was in brackets, so I think that's commentary from Sheila. This flies in the face of Hinshaw's earlier testimony that her edicts were sparse and sparing and balanced. Yeah, good call. Yeah, if you go look it up, Dina said that her edicts were sparse and sparing and balanced, which they were not. Gray, when you mentioned the new normal in your March 14th, 2020 press conference, did that include restrictions on freedoms? Hinshaw, when necessary, the expectation was always that people would follow the law. Yeah, we did follow the law, not these stupid things that you made up. March 17th, Gray says, March 17th, you say the measures are putting strain on people, not the virus. The measures. Hinshaw, yes. Gray, March 18th, you said, please trust these measures, as painful as they are necessary to prevent the spread. You called the measures painful. Yes. Gray, March 21st, you said COVID-19 does not discriminate. You'd agree you would agree that is not true. It does discriminate. More deadly to elderly and those with comorbidities, according to the government's own data. Depends on what discriminate means. Everyone is susceptible to infection. Touche, Hinshaw. Touche. Most Canadians will get minor symptoms, if any. That's true? Yes. Hinshaw. Most of us were working through something like this for the very first time. But she is the public health officer. I don't think I was learning on the job. What do you people want from me is the best defense here. That's more commentary from Sheila. Gray, on April 3rd, you said some people would go on to have serious illness and even death. Hinshaw, while the risk was low, there had been fatalities in other jurisdictions. But that was not true for Alberta at the time, was it? You can see how people hearing this may be alarmed. Hinshaw, I can't recall. It was 2 years ago, and I don't know when we saw the first under 18 death recorded. Oh, oh no. What just happened here? Oh, I see. I went to the... No. Oh my goodness. There we go. Am I still... Alright. Sorry, I accidentally changed my screen here. So... Ooh. Let's read this one. Gray, at some point, the government decided that the percentage of eligible Albertans receiving vaccines to be 70% to begin lifting restrictions. You say in your evidence that you thought the vaccines were the way to achieve herd immunity. Hinshaw, it is fair to say that I thought we would be able to achieve herd immunity if we achieved significant level of vaccination. Gray points to a subsequent presser when Hinshaw called vaccines at 95% effective. Where did you get that info? Gray says, where did you get that info? Hinshaw? Pfizer clinical trials. Gray points to the Hinshaw presser in January 2021. You said, when you can promote content reviewed by people with expertise in epidemiology, infectious diseases that will contribute to informing people and stop the spread of misinfo. But she said vaccines were 95% effective. So he's obviously pointing the picture that she was spreading misinformation, right? Yeah, see, you can see it here. The obvious implication is perhaps Hinshaw was the one who was spreading what turned out to be misinformation while accusing others of doing just that. So you can see, I would say go to Rebel News, check out all the tweets from the last couple days, so you can know what's going on with her, what's going on with Hinshaw, right? I think it's important. And so that's the Rebel article. There's the paywall article. So I forgot to move a screen again. So I'm just gonna quickly put that up for you guys. And let's see what the size of the screen is. Yes. 2 Samuel 11. So guys, today I was reading this in my reading plan in the morning, and I really I had a more emotional response to this chapter of the Bible than I think I've ever had. I don't know really what happened, but I was just dwelling on it. And if you don't know, it's 2 Samuel 11. So this is when Uriah the Hittite is killed in battle because David sends him out to be killed in battle so that he could cover up the fact that he had impregnated Uriah's wife, Bathsheba. So let's read it, or at least some of it. And it starts this way. Now it happened in the spring, at the time when kings go out to battle, that David sent Joab and his servants with him, and all Israel, and they destroyed the sons of Ammon and besieged Rabbah, but David stayed at Jerusalem. So something that's interesting is I typed in this saying, when kings go out, it's spring, at the time when kings go out to battle. What that pointed out to me is that David wasn't fighting his own battles at this point, and kings go out to battle in the spring, but he stayed behind. Joab was out fighting his wars, his battles for him, and so David was at home. And if he would have been taking charge of things and being on the battlefield like he was supposed to, or like he normally did, he probably wouldn't have gotten preoccupied and noticed this beautiful woman bathing near him. It would have left no room for him to sin in his heart the way he did. And as we move on, it says, now after this, it says, but David stayed at Jerusalem. So now, when evening came, David arose from his bed and walked round on the roof of the king's house. From the roof he saw a woman bathing, and the woman was very beautiful in appearance. So David sent and inquired about the woman. And one said, is this not Bathsheba, the daughter of Eliam, the wife of Uriah the Hittite? Then David sent messengers and took her, and she came to him, and he lay with her. And when she had purified herself from uncleanness, she returned to her house. And the woman became pregnant, and she sent and told David and said, I am pregnant. So, as something to just cover off to the side note even, there are many liberal-leaning Christians who would try to argue that David raped Bathsheba. Maybe because he was in a position of power over her, those kinds of things. But the implication is consensual. I don't think anyone who knows the biblical languages would disagree with that now, and who is a regenerate, saved person. But anyway, there's no rape there. Because look, she even tells him, like, I am pregnant. And then she marries him later. And so, David sends to Joab and gets Uriah to come home. And so David's plan is to have Uriah come home and sleep with his wife, and so that the pregnancy would be hidden. And no one would have to know. So Uriah goes to David, and David asked concerning the state of Joab and the state of the people and the state of the war. Then David said to Uriah, go down to your house and wash your feet. And Uriah went out of the king's house, and a present from the king went out after him. So he gave him a present. He was really trying to make Uriah feel good, so he would go home and do what married people do with his wife. Now it goes on. But Uriah lay down at the door of the king's house with all the servants of his lord, and did not go down to his house. Then they told David, saying, Uriah did not go down to his house. And David said to Uriah, have you not come from a journey? Why did you not go down to your house? And Uriah said to David, the ark and Israel and Judah are staying in booths, and my lord Joab and the servants of my lord are camping in the open field. Shall I then go to my house to eat and to drink and to lie with my wife? By your life and the life of your soul, I will not do this thing. So Uriah is this incredibly loyal soldier who is willing to avoid going home to his wife, even though his king is telling him he can and should, and he refuses. So David hears this, and what I could only assume is panic. David sends Uriah. So first it says, then David said to Uriah, stay here today also, and tomorrow I will send you out. So Uriah remained in Jerusalem that day and the next. Then David calls him, and he ate and drank before him, and he made him drunk. So now he's trying a different tactic. I'll get some drinks in him, and he'll go home. He'll be with his wife, and he'll cover my sin. And in the evening he went out to lie on his bed with his lord's servants, but he did not go down to his house. Now check this out. In the very next verse, after you see how loyal Uriah is, David's like, no, I don't have time for this. I need to deal with this. David writes a letter to Joab, and where did it go? Yes, verse 14. Now it happened in the morning that David wrote a letter to Joab and sent it by the hand of Uriah. So he also gets Uriah to deliver his own death warrant. And David had written in the letter saying, place Uriah in the front line of the fiercest battle and withdraw from him, so that he may be struck down and die. So it was as Joab kept watch on the city that he put Uriah at the place where he knew there were valiant men. And the men of the city went out and fought against Joab, and some of the people among David's servants fell, and Uriah the Hittite also died. So he's also put with these valiant men, and that some of their lives are sacrificed just so David can hide his sin. Then Joab sent and told David all the events of war. And he commanded the messenger, saying, when you have finished telling all the events of the war to the king, and if it happens that the king's wrath rises, and he says to you, why did you approach the city to fight? Did you not know that they would shoot from the wall? Who struck down Abimelech, the son of Jerubbesheth? Did not a woman cast an upper millstone on him from the wall? So he died at Thebez. Why did you approach the wall? Then you shall say, your servant Uriah the Hittite is dead also. Okay, so he's coaching him how to talk so that they don't get in trouble, and he's letting David know that Uriah is dead. That was the battle that they used to kill Uriah. So the messenger, we should call him, went and came and told David all that Joab had sent him to tell. And the messengers said to David, the men prevailed against us and came out against us in the field, but we pressed them as far as the entrance of the gate. And so, as you know, there's a lot more going on. I would recommend reading 14 with this as well. 12. I'd recommend you read 12 with this as well. Because in 12, Yahweh sends Nathan. And Nathan posts this this image posts. Sorry, I'm falling asleep, can you tell? Nathan presents this story, this parable almost. Parable might not be good, but it's an analogy of a rich man who takes a poor man's sheep who is like his pet, who is like his child, like his daughter, takes that lamb and uses it for a dinner party instead of one of his many sheep. The rich man does that to the poor man. And David is outraged. And then Nathan turns to him and says, you are that man. David is sick. David finds out that God is going to take his child away from him. And so he collapses on the ground and mourns. But I just thought about what it would be like to be Uriah and his wife and to be loyal. And that is your own downfall. Being loyal to his king was his downfall. Uriah sounds like a really great dude, you know? He won't even go home. He's like, I'm not going home and enjoying comforts while all this stuff is happening in Israel. And yet all David can do is cover his sin. Now, we know that there's forgiveness. God grants forgiveness, and he granted forgiveness to David, so much so that David was called a man after his own heart. And so David, being a true believer, could still commit horrendous sin. And he did. And he repented of it. He mourned the loss of his child as the child was dying. And he woke up. And he was completely refreshed, it seems. So anyway. Or sorry, not woke up. Got up after mourning his son. Washed his face and ate and felt refreshed. Because once he knew he lost his son, he changed, right? Because he petitioned God. And so I felt like this was something to go through, because you can present the gospel from it, because you see how evil David was. And this is even when he's a follower of God. We know that believers can still commit great evil. And when we do it in front of the world, it is a grievous hypocrisy, but we're all guilty of it. But that being said, believers need to believe the gospel and keep believing it, right? We need to be forgiven of our sin, and we need to think about the fact that we are forgiven. God has granted us the ability to be forgiven and to be with him. And David was confident that he would be with God again as we read the Psalms. But how is it that we get to heaven? Well, it's the same thing every time. God has said that you were born dead in your sins and trespasses. And it's not just that he said it, but Adam and Eve sinned against God. And because of that, we are born with a sin nature. And so, you can do nothing in your natural state but sin. You are born dead in your sins and trespasses. So what you must do is believe that Jesus Christ died for your sins, that he came to save you for your sins. You must turn from your sin and believe on him for the forgiveness of your sin. Repent. Turn from your sin. Change your mind. Turn back to God. Turn back to Christ and follow him. And be saved. And you, once you are saved, you will desire to be obedient to him. See, there's two options. You can either be a slave to your sin for the rest of your life, or you can be a slave to Christ. That is as far as your free will goes. Now choose this day who you will serve. Jesus or anything that's not him. Anything that's not him is idolatry. So I would choose the God who can save, the God who pays for sins, the God who forgives us of all our sins and is still just to do it because he has put that punishment on someone else who came along and said, I will pay that sin. I will pay for that sin. I will get you out of jail. And jail, in this case, is eternal conscious torment. So guys, with that, please believe the gospel. And once again, share this video. It would really help me out. Obviously, I need to, if I'm going to grow this page, this following, I'm going to need to start doing more, start being more active about it, and utilizing my social media better. But in the meantime, if you could follow me on all of my subscriptions, that would be very helpful to me. And I will just close by saying thanks a lot, and I will see you guys next week.